Yes, very good afternoon. Children, what was the last part I have taught yesterday? I have talked about, which was the last part I have discussed yesterday? Any one of you please share with me. You will start with the powers. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, powers. Now, children, is the board completely visible? Is the board completely visible? Actually, in front of me, the whole screen is not coming, so I cannot make out that whether. Okay. Now, if you analyze, if you see, if you go through the Indian Constitution and the various articles, you will find that the President of India, has been vested vast powers, vast amount of powers. Clear? And these comes under 5 heads or subtitles: executive powers, legislative powers, financial powers, judicial powers and emergency powers. Clear? So, first of all, I will start with executive powers. Under the executive power, his administrative power. What does this mean? The President of India, all the administration in the country are actually undertaken in the name of the President of India. Clear? The Prime Minister, we all know that the party which gets absolute majority in the Lok Sabha, the leader of that party becomes the Prime Minister and that party forms the government. So, the head of the government of India, which is the Prime Minister, as I have written the other day on the board, he is actually appointed by the President. Clear? And all the Council of Ministers means the group or team of ministers, those who are going to help the Prime Minister in his work, they are actually appointed by the President. Although the list is made or prepared by the Prime Minister, but the appointment is given by the President, which means that all the administrative actions or all the administrative functions in India are actually undertaken in the name of the President of the country. Clear? Under every group I will discuss three powers: appointment making powers, appointment making powers, appointment making powers. What does this mean? All the important officers, for example, Auditor General, Comptroller General, then Ambassador General, all the IAS officers, All India Service officers, Governors of India, Chief Justice of the Supreme, Judges of the Supreme Court, High Court, all these important posts, they are actually, the appointments are made by the President of India. That means the appointment letter for all these posts they have the signature of the President of India. Clear? Next is foreign relations. We all know that whenever India is going to sign a treaty with any other country, it is the president who is the head of the state, you know, he will actually do this one. All the, all the powers are, all these treaties are actually signed by the president. Clear? Then, you know, whenever any foreign delegate or foreign ambassador comes from other countries to India, they are all greeted by the President of India. You have noticed this, that whenever foreign delegates or foreign ministers or presidents, whoever comes, you know, they are actually greeted by the president. And how many ambassadors will be, ambassadors means envoys, envoys means messengers. How many messengers will go from India to which country? That is also suggested by the president. So the foreign relation part is also taken up by the president. Together with that, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. Now all the armed forces in India, air, water, land, the president is the head of them. All the important posts in this armed forces, you know, they are actually made by the president. And whenever the country is going to face a war or a war with another country, you know, the declaration of the war is made by the president, and when the war will come to an end, that means when a treaty will be signed, that is also done by the President of India. So these four I have included within the executive powers of the President of India. These four I have included within the executive powers of the President of India. Now I will move to the legislative power. Legislative power of the President of India. First of all, bill becomes, okay, I am not writing this part, you have already done in the previous chapter, that is legislature, you know. A bill becomes a law only when the president signs it. We all know that. A bill will become a law only when the president will sign it. Secondly, the president has the power to nominate members to the Rajya Sabha as well as the Lok Sabha. Yes or no? You have studied that in the Rajya Sabha, the president can appoint 12 members, and in the Lok Sabha, he can nominate 2 members from the Anglo-Indian community. Clear? Now, one thing you have to remember is that the president is not a member of the parliament. He cannot become a member of the parliament. Clear? But in India, you know, in 1 year, the parliament has 2 sessions. 2 sessions means time period of work. In 1 year, at least 2 sessions must be there, and the gap between 2 sessions must not be more than 6 months. Clear? So whenever there is a session starting, usually both the houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, they start the sessions together. So whenever the sessions are getting started, you know, the president must have to be present there. If the president is not present, the session will not start. And in that particular session, you know, he addresses the both the houses. This is one aspect. And when the session comes to an end, maybe after 1 month or 2 months, the session will come to an end, and that day also the presence of the president is mandatory. The president's presence is mandatory that day also. Whenever the sessions of the parliament are started and closed, summoned and prorogued, these are the technical terms, summoned and prorogued. that day the president must be there. Now the fourth one. First one I told you, the bill becomes a law when the president signs it. Second one is that he nominates members from both the houses. Okay. Third one I told you that when the parliament starts session, that day his presence is necessary, and when the session closes his presence is necessary. Clear? Fourth one, you know, at times there can be a conflict over certain issues between the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. There can be. So whenever there is such a conflict, who can solve that conflict? It is only the president. What the president does, you know, he calls a joint meeting of members of both the houses. A joint meeting of members of both the houses, and then he resolves the conflict. So these are the four legislative powers which I have discussed about the President of India. Now I will move to the financial powers. Within the financial power, you know, when a money bill is introduced, can anybody of you tell me which house the money bill is introduced? In which house the money bill gets introduced? Yes, very good, money bill. So before a money bill is getting introduced in the Lok Sabha, it must get the permission of the president. The president's permission is necessary. That means if the permission is not granted to the president, the money bill to the Lok Sabha, you cannot introduce the money bill. Together with that, the annual budget. You know what is a budget? Budget is actually the estimate of income and expenditure. Maybe I have explained you in that particular chapter, legislature, that usually in the month of February, last week of February, the budget is announced by the finance minister of India. That means in the coming year, what are the sources from where India will make an income, and what are the sources where India is going to spend its money. It is an estimate. So before the budget is placed before the parliament, again the president's permission is compulsory. A money bill, as the money bill needs a permission, the budget also needs a permission. Then the contingency fund of India, contingency fund. You know what is the meaning of contingency fund? Contingency fund means the emergency fund of India, emergency. You know, whenever there is a natural calamity, wherever there is some problems have taken place in any state or any place, you know, there is a fixed amount of money kept. That amount of money will be given to that particular state or that particular region. So that contingency fund of India is actually placed under the president is the head of that contingency fund. Clear? Which area, how much fund is to be given, that is decided by the president. And fourth one, if he wants, he can set up a finance commission for investigation. Finance commission for investigation, that where all the money has been spent, the president can set up a finance commission also from time to time to investigate that whether the money of the country, the fund, the capital of the country has been used properly or not. Now we will move to the judicial powers. You will not get 4 here, 3 only there, 3 only will be here. You know, judicial power, life sentence. Whenever any person is given a death sentence, clear, like to be hanged until death, by the Supreme Court also it has been given. Only one person has the right to pardon it. And who has that right? It is only the President of India who can pardon even a death sentence, and he can change a death sentence into life imprisonment. Clear? This is death sentence. to life imprisonment. Another one is court martial. What is court martial? You know, this is the highest punishment in an army. Highest punishment in an army. What happens? You know, by chance any army member has been found to done something wrong, to have done something wrong, or have acted as a spy for any other country, then court martial is given to that person. What happens in a court martial? You know, in front of everyone, all kinds of military, one by one, his badge, his cap, his gun, everything is taken away from him. And it is, nothing can be more insulting and humiliating than a court martial. So even the president has the power to pardon a court martial or any other crime which has been done under the Indian Penal Code. That means according to the Indian law, if any person has done a crime and a heavy punishment has been given to that person, only the president has the power to pardon that. Next comes the emergency powers. You know, there are three types of emergency: national emergency, I am writing it in short, emergency, Article 352, financial emergency under Article 356, another one is constitutional emergency, Article 360. National emergency, when does it take place? When there is a war within the country or a foreign power has attacked India. Financial emergency means when there is acute financial crisis in the country, and constitutional emergency means the democratic institutions of the country is not working properly. Then the president has the power to declare an emergency. So who has the power to declare an emergency? The president. What kind of emergency? When to be declared? That is with the President of India. Clear? And whenever there is an emergency, what happens? You know, India is federally structurally federal, I told you. That means India has two sets of government, central and state. During an emergency, you know, this federal character will stop working and all the powers will now come under the hands of the president. The president will now rule the country until and unless the emergency comes down to normal. Clear? And this time the president has the power to issue ordinances. Ordinances means temporary laws. All temporary laws, if the president wants, he can issue temporary laws, and by issuing the temporary laws, he can administer the country as long as the emergency period is going on. But once the emergency is over, then again previous way of government will come back to normalcy. Clear? So these are the different powers enjoyed by the President of India. So after, when you analyze the powers of the Indian president, you will come to know that, oh my God, the President of India is such a powerful person. He can become the most powerful person on this earth. But this is the conclusion which I will make for him, is that, you know, if you make a thorough analysis, you will find that none of the powers of the President of India are his independent powers. None of them. Why not independent? Because whenever he is going to take any decision, whichever, signing a treaty, making an appointment, declaring an emergency, whenever such a situation comes, the president must have to take the advice of the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. He can never do any work alone, because it is mentioned in the Constitution that whenever the president is taking any decision, any step, he must have to consult and take the advice of his Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. So unfortunately, although given with so much of powers. The President of India, his powers are not his independent powers. Clear? So, if anybody of you have a doubt with the President of India's part, you can ask me. If not, then I will move to the Vice President of India. Okay. So, we were discussing about the nominal executive. When I started yesterday, I told you that we will be starting with the nominal executive, not yesterday, day before yesterday, sorry. So, another nominal executive is the Vice President of India. So, if one becomes, what are the qualifications? Same as the President of India, same as the President of India. Why? Because in case the President's office falls vacant, then the Vice President steps in as the next President of India, meaning he acts as the President of India until a next President is elected. Term same as the President, 5 years. This 5 years can be decreased, as I have told you yesterday, for the President, death, resignation, injury or impeachment, or it can be increased during the term of an emergency or any other situation. Okay. Method of election is the same, elected by an electoral college as the President of India. As the President of India is elected by an electoral college, the Vice President of India is also elected by the electoral college. Now, can anybody of you tell me that the electoral college for electing the President of India consists of whom? Yes, very good. The MPs and MLAs. But in case of the Vice President, there is a small difference. Here only MPs will be there, no MLAs. Clear? Only MPs take part in the election of the President. Otherwise, the whole thing is the same like that of the President of India. Now, we will come down to the functions of the Vice President of India. Functions. Please pay attention. Dual functions means double functions. One steps in as the President when his office falls vacant, and second, Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. These are the two functions which are actually performed by the Vice President of India. First of all, he steps in as the President of India and performs all his tasks whenever the office of the President falls vacant, and he goes on doing the functions until and unless the next President is elected. Now, anybody of you can ask me that, Miss, can the Vice President also take part? Yes, if he is eligible, he can also take part for the election of the Vice President of India. Clear? Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, who was once a Vice President of India, later on he became, the President of India. That can happen. And another function is Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, as I have already discussed. He is the ex officio chairman. That means whoever becomes the Vice President of India, he becomes the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and being the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, his work is to look after the decorum of the house. Decorum means discipline of the house. Then what will be the agenda of the meeting? Agenda means on what topic the discussion will take place. Then what will be the final decision? That is decided by the Vice President. Now, one quorum means the minimum number of members need to be present in a house to conduct a meeting, and a quorum of both the houses is 1/10. But if the Vice President finds that in the Rajya Sabha there are less than 1/10 of the members, then for that day he can adjourn the house, means stop the house. So these are the two functions which are actually performed by the Vice President of India. Clear? Any doubts for the Vice President part of India? Next day I will start with the real executive. Okay, thank you very much. Next day I will start with the real executive. I suppose you have already started with your project. Yes, do move on with it. Thank you. Next day I will start with the real executive.